Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. This is your host, the Barkeep, bringing you podcast 36 here at the Tavern, presented by HeroTaku.com. Well, guys, today I am doing my next video in this short little mini-series I'm doing regarding individual rangers, or in this particular context, a team of rangers. And yes, today I am going to be talking about the A Squad. Now, I know I've talked a little bit about them in my top villain reviews, but I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more in depth about A Squad, the concept of the team, the execution, and what I think is the most hot button topic about the A Squad within the series as a whole. Now, I was actually talking to Raptor the other day about A Squad and potential future videos that we were doing, and it turns out he and I had something of a disagreement here. Now, unfortunately, Raptor's not here to join me today. He's in California at some sort of conference, but trust me, we'll begin some more videos with him within next week. But basically what we were talking about is, why did A Squad turn evil? Now, it's generally accepted that A Squad turned evil just because. That they chose to become evil to fight with Grum against Kruger. And that's been, again, generally accepted because there hasn't been any information to contradict that. And as Raptor says, he likes the idea of rangers that turn evil on their own accord. Because we know there are so many rangers in the past that were, good and then turned evil and then turned back and things like that, or manipulated. Or even in the case of the Dark Rangers, were never really good to begin with, but that's different, as you can tell from my Dark Ranger episode. However, I had a counterpoint to that, because even though I understand why everybody likes the idea that they turned evil and the reasoning behind it, I'm going to have to admit, I still think that they are under mind control. Now, I know that's not a very popular opinion, but let's be honest with a couple of things. The facts do support mind control opposed to being turned evil. And let me kind of go into detail about that. The thing about the A Squad is, when we first see them, they are faceless. They are in their suits, and they don't say anything than, like, yes, sir, and all that. The typical military jargon and whatnot. And then we don't see them again until the episode in which they're captured, and they go missing. And that's referenced throughout the series. Then we see them again when they reappear and find out, Charlie's a girl and the rest of the Rangers and so forth. And then we find out they turn evil. And then, of course, at the end, they get trapped in the cards and whatnot. Now, it just seems, based on Charlie's dialogue, is that they just turned because they wanted to be on the winning side, basically. But I didn't always believe that explanation, and here's why. We have the introduction very late in the series of the character of Omni. Now Omni, if you forget, was the big bad behind the scenes. The Grum was gathering supplies and materials to build his body, which he then unleashed on Earth at the end of the SPD series endings. But it is made clear after his first appearance that he put mind control on Mora, and that Mora swore loyalty to him. Now, we have the introduction of a big bad character who's the mastermind of everything, higher up than Grum, to be shown with mind control abilities. One can logically assume from that point that he did mind control Grum to some extent to carry out his plan. And I think it's even more reasonable that the A Squad was under his command. Now, there's nothing in the show to really prove this or contradict this, but there is more evidence from this that the A Squad was under mind control simply because we have a villain that's introduced with that ability. I know that seems very speculative, and really it is, but it makes more sense to me. Now, do I not believe that the Ranger team could turn evil, that they believe that they could win with the other side? I definitely believe that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And for a while, I did go ahead and believe that that's what A Squad did. But when I thought about the series more, and I thought about this mind control aspect that Omni has, there has to be a connection between them and A Squad. Because here's the thing. When usually heroes turn into villains, they have motivations and reasons for doing it, and we are showed those motivations and reasons. That is not done when we are introduced to the A Squad, because we don't know who the A Squad is. We are told a lot about the A Squad, that they are the best of the best, that they are, the top cadets and so forth, and that they have saved the world and all this on multiple occasions. Again, we're just told that. We don't know who their characters are. And really, we don't find out any of their characters. We understand a little bit about Charlie, but I'm not really going to take anything she says too seriously. Because again, she's the one that makes the line that, they turn to Grum's side. She didn't say why, though. But my point is, if they're going to be good first and then turn evil, I want to see that good side. Don't just tell us about the A Squad and what they have done. Show it to us. And this is where I want to get into the A Squad as a whole. Because, again, I did put them on my top list, but I think that may have been premature, and I really needed to think a little bit more about it. And that's really what I've been doing since then, is I've thought more about it, and I've given a little bit more consideration to a number of factors. And they should have really introduced them as good characters to begin with, and then turned them evil somewhere down the line. As opposed to their first introduction being a non-introduction, just showing that they exist does not count as an introduction. And then their true introduction as characters doesn't happen till the end of the series, and even at that point, we don't know anything about them. Because it's supposed to be this big surprise that the Rangers turned on Kruger working for Grum. Now let's keep in mind, it's the fact that the Rangers turned, not the characters that turned, that surprised us. And it wasn't that big of a surprise, to be quite honest, because, there were hints here and there very subtly when you look at them in retrospect. About A Squad, of course, the obvious being Bridge talking about their colors are different and stuff, which it leads me to believe that they were already under Omni's control, or that they were already somewhat dark and evil before they left. And yes, I know Grum had not arrived at that particular point yet, and that doesn't necessarily trump my argument here. All I'm saying is that they might have been leaning towards the dark side a little bit. But how are we supposed to go ahead and know that exactly? Again, we're not told anything. We are told things, but we don't learn about these characters. Was there a specific political stance that they were taking that SPD did not particularly agree with? Was there a political stance the Tribune Empire had? Was there some sort of family situation? What is it that keeps A Squad together? Because we learn that, the B Squad becomes a family, basically. Is A Squad a family, or are they just a random assortment of Rangers that were put together because they're the best of the best? And what makes them the best of the best? I don't understand that, because it's not given to us. Now, SPD as a series overall, I think it's okay. I don't particularly like the series, but I appreciate the things that it did, and I can recognize the good that particular season had. But overall, it just didn't do anything for me. Particularly because I didn't like some of the characters. I didn't like Sid too much. I think Bridge is just way overblown in the fan community. I don't think he's as interesting as everybody thinks. Kruger was probably the most interesting character and the one I probably wanted to know the most about. And of course, I hated Kat. I couldn't deal with her at all. But this is not a SPD overall. This is about what they did with the A Squad. Now again, a team of Rangers that turns evil of their own accord is a great idea. But I still don't think that's what happened in the series. But let's table that for a second. Let's assume for the moment they did turn evil of their own accord. Why? They don't answer that within the series. They really don't give a satisfactory explanation. I mean, what is it? Because what would make the entire team turn evil? What could Grum offer them? What could Omni offer them? What could the Trubian Empire offer them that they would want? I don't particularly understand that. And actually, I want to bring this point up because since I mentioned Trubian Empire twice already. Much the way I view the Zanyak from Gokai here, I don't think the Empire is just made up of Grum and his robotic servants and Mora. I really don't think that. If it's truly an Empire, that means they control dozens, if not hundreds, of worlds and planets and systems and whatever and stuff. That being said, were some of the Rangers from the Trubian Empire, were they citizens of the Empire? Because that would go a long way to explaining it. Because maybe they were part of the Empire originally, they grew up, and then they left, they were exiled, who knows what, and then this was to get them back. I just want to bring that point up real quick because it's never established what the Empire is. Because you just can't throw the word Empire and expect us to believe it's just these people doing these things. No. If it's definitely an Empire, which it's been shown to be and explained, Grum has several hundred worlds, people, civilians with their own lives, out there doing their whole thing, probably separate to what Grum and his army is attempting to do. And who knows, back home, wherever the home world is for the Empire, there's somebody ruling in his stead, benevolently, militaristically, in a dictatorship. Who knows? We don't know. But knowing that, it might help explain some of the Rangers, defecting. Because heck, Beevor, which I'm going to use the fan name just because those are pretty funny. Beevor is an alien. How do we know his species is not a member of the Empire? Whether it's conquered or subjugated or they joined willingly. I mean, we just don't really know. And that's something that I think was downplayed within the series, but something that could have been expanded upon with the A Squad Rangers. Now, I've kind of lost my topic point here, but yeah, let's go back to the mind control thing, because I really think that it has to be mind control. Again, Omni and all them were not present because the wormhole was blocked at the beginning of the series. But you never know what missions A Squad could have been on in which they encountered Grum previously, or they encountered Omni at some point, some offshoot of Omni, we don't know. And again, just because Bridge says that their colors are off, doesn't necessarily mean they're under mind control, but again, they could be leaning towards evil. And maybe that's what makes it easier, because one of the thoughts I had is, when Grum captures the Rangers, the SPD Rangers and Kruger, he just puts them in a cage and has them to be executed. But why doesn't he try to turn them evil with Omni? Because you would think that his whole global domination plan would have been more successful if he would have had the Rangers on his side being evil. Well, maybe the whole thing is that your colors have to be off, I guess. That you have to have an inkling towards darkness, or that part of you is evil. Which would explain why the Rangers were not turned evil, the B Squad, but the A Squad was, because they were tainted or whatever, they had these dark thoughts or whatever. That makes sense to me there, because again, if you have mind control, why don't you use it? That's what I'm kind of curious of. And I do wonder why Omni had to use that on Mora in the first place, or even on Grum. And I guess rewriting the series, you could have done it differently, but again, just the way that we have it, I just find it curious that, again, mind control, that's a very powerful weapon to use, especially if you're talking about subverting somebody. Because we do know that somebody tried to impersonate Sky in one episode and try to get away with a lot of stuff. But imagine if it really was Sky and he was just turned evil. Heck, A Squad could have wrought more havoc than what they did if they were around for a while. But yeah, that's the main issue that I have is, like, is it mind control or not? And here's the thing, if it is not mind control, how are we supposed to know that they've turned evil? Again, very subtle hints earlier in the series, But if we don't know who the characters are, one, do we know they're going to turn evil? Two, do we understand their motivations? And three, why do we care? Why do we care that these Rangers turned evil? Yes, they're Power Rangers, and you have to explain why did they become Power Rangers in the first place. I guess one of the things I don't like about SPD is they take the special nature of being a Power Ranger out of the equation. And they did that with Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force and a number of other things. I'm not a big fan of when Rangers are recruited through military organizations. I like the random chance. I like the fate aspect, that fate has led these people together. Granted, you can argue that about SPD until the point you get to, oh, they were all genetically enhanced as children, or not genetically enhanced, but their parents were infected by something that caused their children to be mutants in a sense and all that. Lost Galaxy, which is definitely fate-based, that's what brought them all together. Ninja Storm, the fact that it's these three kids and it's what they did, that made sure they weren't at the academy when Lothar attacked and so forth. I just think it takes away the specialness of it. That being said, with the A Squad and whatnot, what is so special about them? I mean, did they just rise through the academy ranks because they're the most skilled at what they do? There's something special about them. I really want to know more about their characters, but we're not getting that within the series. And why wasn't that done? That's what I want to know. Yes, the focus is on the B Squad, focused on those in the Deca Ranger suits as opposed to the modified Mega Ranger suits or Space Ranger suits. I get that. That makes sense to me. But if you're going to have this turn, then we need to go ahead and care about it. Now, as much as everybody bashes on the prequels and say they were unnecessary, I don't think so, because I like seeing Vader turn from a good person to slowly becoming Darth Vader. I really liked the story of Anakin. Was it the best story in the world? Probably not, but I felt for the character more than I did in the original trilogy. Let's actually compare SPD to Star Wars at the moment, because when we see Vader in episodes 4, 5, and 6, we just know that he is bad. We eventually learn about this past, is told things about him, and then he, of course, redeemed at the end. And, of course, the prequels go into the idea of expanding upon his character, showing the tragedy of what happened. And frankly, when I see all 6 movies together, I feel the tragedy. I'm going to have to disagree with Red Letter Media on that point, that he wasn't a bad egg from the beginning and all that. But I really cared about Anakin, cared about what happened to him, and I was really upset, when he was burned alive, basically. Because there are emotional stakes in that character. And when you look back on Darth Vader, not to say Darth Vader wasn't good in episodes 4, 5, and 6, but when you learn about his past, what he went through, who he was, and everything like that, you feel more for him, you understand him more, and there is more sympathy towards him as a character. Not to say, again, he wasn't a great villain, but it does inform us, that's why he's doing it. Oh, it's history repeating itself. And then even that confrontation at the end with him, Palpatine, and Luke means more when you know what Anakin had to go through, basically. Now let's compare that to the A Squad. What if we had episodes where we got to know the characters, that we got to know their personalities, what their likes and dislikes are, why they joined SPD in the first place, what reason would they have to leave SPD, anything like that, to just give them an insight to their personalities. Because let's be honest, all we know about the Pink Ranger, A Squad Pink Ranger, she's Asian. All we know about Charlie is she's a girl. All we know about Beevor is he's a walrus-like alien. I mean, I'm sorry, that's about it. What do we know about Ivan and Cliff? Well, Ivan's a yellow male ranger, so there's that. I mean, I think it's a big problem with the series that we don't get to know these characters more. And I want to know why that is. It almost seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong in this matter, but maybe the whole A Squad turning with Omni and all that might have been developed later on in the season. I'm not quite sure because it doesn't perfectly tie in. But again, I have to wonder, why do you introduce these characters to turn them evil, but you don't tell us anything about them to make us understand why they did it? And unfortunately, the way that Saban is going right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to do any type of sequel series that's going to explain anything to us. It doesn't seem like there's going to be any vessel for them to explore these characters more into the future, unless they do come up with comic books and novels and who knows what. But I just find it very disappointing that we don't get to know about their heel turn and what is their motivation. There's got to be some sort of motivation. Anakin's motivation was the love for his wife, Padme, plain and simple. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that, but if you want to get to bare bones, yeah. Anakin did it for Padme to save her from death because Anakin can't accept death. So what is it that the A Squad Rangers can't accept that Grum offer them? What temptation, what Faustian bargain did they make to have this Lucifer Paradise Lost fall from grace? I don't get that. There's got to be something there. And really, how much more interesting would it be? I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you want to know why they turned? Again, if they did it on their own accord, why did they go ahead and do it? And have you never thought about that? But again, back to the mind control, and I have to lean in this direction because we don't have these character traits, because we don't have any real development of them. I have to go with the mind control thing, simply because it's established the villain has mind control, and we have Rangers that turn evil for no adequately explained reason. So, that's what I'm going to go with until I get evidence to the contrary, because I think that's enough evidence to go off on because we have lack of characterization. And that's simply why I'm saying it. We have lack of characterization. If we knew Charlie and we could get inside her mind a bit more, then yeah, I can come up with justified reasons for why she would turn evil. But since we're not given that, mind control, I think, is what we're going to have to go with at the moment. And I know that's not a popular opinion, and most of you guys are probably going to hate me in the comments and all that, but again, give me some character, give me a little bit more evidence to support that. That's why I would really like to go ahead and know. And again, just to clear this up, again, I know that that Omni was not through the wormhole at the time in which the series began and all that, but if I had to come up with an explanation, they were already leaning towards that, or they may have been bad people to begin with, because they really do look like those bad army grunts that you kind of see in what's that Michael Moore movie? I can't Fahrenheit 9/11. I forget what it is. They look like those bad eggs almost, the way that they're portrayed in their human forms, and even how dark they are with the Ranger helmets, where they kind of look evil to begin with, and all that. So, they may just be a bunch of jarheads that didn't know better. I don't know. But again, I would like that explanation. But I would definitely like to know what you guys think. Again, please keep the comments civil. Tell me, do you think it's mind control? Do you think that they, turned willingly? And, give me your evidence for it if I haven't mentioned it already. I would like to know what everybody kind of thinks, because it just seems like it's generally accepted that's what happened, but nobody has ever thought about the Omni mind control. Even when I talked to this with Raptor, he's like, Omni had mind control? Well, I think he knew that, but he didn't accept it because he didn't want to believe it. Not that I'm putting any words in his mouth, mind you. But when you don't want to believe something, then you kind of discount our evidence and all that. And again, his point's valid. I'm not saying anything against it. I just think, again, with what we're given, we have to come to that conclusion. So again, tell me what you guys think. I thank you for listening to me here this evening. You have yourselves a good night and enjoy your weekend. And the tavern is now closed.